do you know what? I need to stop saying that I don't really care about these games and that they don't really matter and that, all eyes are on the Champions League, because I get so wound up when we don't win. And this one's really wound me up. More than Brentford, more than Everton, more than Palace. Can't remember who else recently. I think Palace was the last Premier League game. So frustrating. And I've got a lot to say about Mikel Arteta, got a lot to say about the team. And actually, at half-time, things were looking quite bright. I thought at half-time there was plenty to be positive about. Even Erdegaard was doing his thing. Let me just add some sort of detail to what I was just saying at the beginning there. When I talk about not really kind of caring about these Premier League games, I do. I've always maintained that second place isn't something we should lose a grip on. And I've always maintained as well that, there are young fans going for their first game. There are fans have travelled, from wherever. Some travel from, 10 hours on a flight away to watch Arsenal. And the players need to show up every single time with the same concentration, with the same mentality, with the same attitude. They need to show up to every game, even in the Premier League now, as they would have sort of in the first 5-10 games of the season where there's still everything to play for. So while I maintain all that, I can only then look at it through my lens, through my eyes, which is how much do I care about it, these league games. And I always said, well, ultimately I'm sort of thinking about the Champions League and it's hard to be focused when ultimately we can't win the title. But we've been so bad, which I never expected, by the way, we've been so bad that we've pulled ourselves into what I still think is a strong position in terms of the securing Champions League football, but also we've pulled ourselves into a conversation we should never have been a part of. We're on 67 points, and the likes of Newcastle and City can catch us. And Chelsea and Forest, look, if things go diabolically wrong and things go really well for them, they can catch us too. But I think there's a few matchups and games between those sides, so we should still be all right. But we should never have lost a grip of second, despite everything that's gone on. And I also never thought that when I say like I'm not really there like I am with the Champions League games, it's because I thought we'll beat Fulham at home, which we did. We'll beat Palace at home. We'll beat Brentford at home. We'll Everton away, we'll be all right. Bournemouth at home, I think we'll nick a win. I still thought we'd win these games. The reason I was relaxed, the reason I didn't have that kind of same energy and passion was, yes, because of the title race stuff, because I thought we'd be okay. Yet the levels have dropped so much, to the point where I don't think we've won in 5 Premier League games or something. That's what Laurie said. I need to double check that. Was Fulham really not within 5 games? Maybe it's 1 in 5. Listen, I don't know. Shocking. Really, really poor. And I feel for everyone who made the effort to go to the game, because that second half was unacceptable. The camera was always on Nicolas Jova when we do something right from set pieces. That's 2 goals conceded from set pieces. Apparently a huge portion of our goals conceded this season has been from set pieces. That's something that needs to be looked at. For all the praise we give him, because undoubtedly he's done a brilliant job since he's arrived, that's a problem. So that's now reared its head. Something else we need to address at some point in the summer in terms of fixing that tactically. But I need to talk about Mikel Arteta today. And he went strong. Why? I kind of get it. Momentum for PSG and looking at the teams behind us creeping up. I think Rice and Saka probably could have been resting. Now, Rice, to be fair, got that goal. But I think he could have gone with Marino and Wineri. That's probably the only changes I would have made. But otherwise, fine. Like, he went strong because he wanted to get a win. But the way Mikel Arteta struggles to juggle multiple competitions, I don't think that's an unfair statement, that. What I've just said there, Arteta struggles to manage multiple competitions. He struggles to get Arsenal competing on multiple fronts at the same intensity and level every time. I don't think that is in any way, shape or form a controversial statement. When you look at his first season in charge, he was able to do something tactically. He won away at Sheffield United in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Remember, guys, that was not easy to do. Sheffield United were a good side. I think they finished in the top half. He went and won there 2-1, right? We knocked out Bournemouth away from home. Then we beat Man City and Chelsea. He did something in the FA Cup. He got it absolutely spot on. But in the league, we were so hit and miss. We were so stop-start. The season after that, the Europa League run to the semi-final, we win 4-1 away and we had some decent results. But otherwise, really stop-start in the league and then knocked out of all the other cup competitions. Then we finally get a little bit of competitive, chasing Champions League football. The season after that, we're going for the title. Season after that too. But we're falling out of every competition at much earlier hurdles, or much easier hurdles than we would have expected. His ability to rotate and manage the squad, but also maintain a certain standard from that group across multiple competitions is It's not there. It's non-existent. He really, really struggles with that. And now that all eyes are on the Champions League, what we have to do there, he said in interviews, confident that we'll turn around in Paris. And, the players are saying they're confident. I think we can still do it. But how are the levels in the Premier League that far from what you'd expect? And how are we throwing away so many leads? It's another game. I think a 10th or something, 10th lead that we've ended up dropping points from. We led against Brentford, we led at Everton, we led against Palace, we led here against Bournemouth, and we've dropped. That's 8, 10 points. How many games have I listed there? That's 8 to 10 points there. Listen, the title race would still be done, but at least you'd have gone, look, for all the injuries, all the problems we've had, we've stayed clear of that top 4 race. Liverpool just much better than us. We weren't good enough. We made mistakes. Listen, it wouldn't have been. I'm not saying that would have been good enough, but at least we've gone. At least we put some wins on the board. At least we've kind of, at least ended the season with a bit of, whatever, a bit of momentum, a bit of pride. We still want to win football matches. It's a really, really disappointing end to this league campaign, in which we now got Liverpool away next, then Newcastle at home. There's a very, very genuine, and Southampton away. We're in legitimate danger of falling to 4th place here. Maybe 5th. 6th, I'd be amazed, because they all got to play each other. But, oh my word, people. I'm so frustrated. Look, maybe in a couple of hours' time, I'll go, James, do you really care if you're 5th or 2nd? But I do. I think in this moment I do. And I've been saying I'm pretty relaxed about everything in the previews on AFTV, and for all my, all eyes on the Champions League, I have cared about not losing a grip on that 2nd place and finishing as high as possible for a little bit of pride, a little bit of something. But no, the club isn't delivering on that front. Listen, January told you everything. What we are seeing now is a direct response to the message the club sent in January when they didn't sign anyone. They said, we are happy to roll the dice on this season and essentially throw it away. We don't think we're going to catch Liverpool. It wasn't worth rolling the dice on a Mattis Tell or something like that, 10 million loan fee, something, just to give us something else. It wasn't worth doing that. It wasn't worth adding an extra 20 million onto the Ollie Watkins deal, or even if ultimately in the summer we wanted to upgrade on him. It wasn't worth doing any of it. A Rashford, an Asensio, nothing. Because, we'll just plod along in the league. We'll hope we have enough to do something in the Champions League, but ultimately all eyes on when Berta comes in next season. That is the message that was sent by the club. And it's why I did a 1-hour live stream describing January as a failure here on the Goonerverse, because they absolutely, completely and utterly threw it away. They threw it away. They decided there and then it wasn't worth the risk. It wasn't worth rolling the dice. And now you're seeing the fruits of that in our results. You are seeing that in everything, in the players' commitment to these games. You're seeing it in the general feeling around fans, and that is unacceptable. Yes, maybe the fans should do more to drive a standard and hold on, we still want to win these games, come on, cool, but that's got to come from within the club, from the very top, but from the players on that pitch too. And I'm so disappointed. Mikel Arteta, what are we doing here with these subs? What is Waneri meant to do in 10 minutes? Zinchenko actually breathed a bit of life into the game. What are we doing here? Just so disappointing. The 11 I can understand, and when you look at how I've reacted to losing this game, you can understand why he went strong. But the subs are so late. He doesn't want to do anything different. He doesn't want to mix it up. He doesn't want to roll the dice unless there's 10 minutes to go. And I'm so disappointed by that. So disappointed. What now? PSG. And do you know what? We can do something. Idiot, deluded me thinks we can still do something. Because that's football. Because I think Arsenal will show more in terms of fight and heart. Because it's one competition where we've actually kind of thrown everything at it. Even when we lost the other night, I thought, on another day we might have drawn or won that. We're doing something in that competition. But, it's like, when does momentum kick in? And when do you just stop and go, hold on, yeah, okay, the 2 Real Madrid games were 2 results. The momentum, the rhythm is, we're not winning football matches. So why do we think we're going to go to Paris and get the win and go to the final of the Champions League, which we'd all be unbelievably euphoric about if we did? Because we love our football club, and because strange things can happen, and because we still have Bukayo Saka on that football pitch, and because Arteta can pull out something tactically. He's done it before. Because things happen in this sport. Had to vent, people. Had to get off my chest. I'm really frustrated about that. But I'll be wearing my Arsenal shirt and I'll be smiling and cheering throughout the whole 90 in Paris, because you know, because the team need us. But we need them, man, to inject something into us. Honestly, disgraceful end to the league campaign. But if we're 5th, hell, if we're 10th, I won't care if we're lifting that Champions League trophy, which I think's in this room. It is, actually. I won't touch it. But it's over there. I'm in the DL Sports studio. It's over there. Arsenal lifting that. And I get to touch that replica version. Of course, none of it will matter. But it's just heaped so much more pressure on Wednesday. And there was already a lot. This summer, lots to talk about. There'll be a video on the Goonerverse at some point. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you lot as irritated as I am? Let me know if you think I'm overreacting. Let me know if you think my frustration is A, unnecessary and over the top, and B, a little bit hypocritical for how I've been sort of treating the previews and run up to these games. But I don't know. Hopefully you can all sympathise with me. Anyway, see you in a bit.